What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my Brooklyn Nets basketball preview for 2016-2017. So first preview of the day, probably the last one at that too. I'm gonna try to come back with quite a few tomorrow. I'll try to catch up a little bit. But again, this is the fourth one that I've done so far. So the last preview we were talking about the New York Knicks. Moving over to the other side of New York City now with the Brooklyn Nets. So recap the format I'm going to be doing for this. So I'm going to start with my two X factors, and then I'm going to talk about my three key players. This one I've got three. And then worst case, best case scenarios for the Nets, and then record prediction. I've done some videos where I was a little bit hard on the Nets this year, which honestly maybe for good reason. This is a team that just is very young, not very proven for this year. And you know, while I think long term they'll be fine, I think this is the direction they've needed to move in for a while now. After that whole Darren Williams, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, that whole experiment didn't work out so well. So my first X factor is surpassing expectations. Whether you consider my expectations or anyone's, if they meet expectations, then you're just not going to make the playoffs as a team that's just not expected to make the playoffs this year. As long as they can put together, I'd say a 500 season through the All-Star break, then that'll be enough momentum, I think, to carry them to at least a playoff berth in the East. But anyway, second X factor is taking advantage of a young underrated lineup. So again, I'm also going to get my starting five for this one. But you're talking about a lineup that features some guys in Rondae-Hollis Jefferson, Karis Levert, Bojan Bogdanovic, Anthony Bennett even to some degree, if he can finally break through for the first time really ever in his career. This lineup's it's got some talent on it, or young talent on it that could surprise some people this year. So my first key player is guy I just mentioned, Rondae-Hollis Jefferson. So Bleacher Report actually did an article today saying that Rondae-Hollis Jefferson was the face of the Nets franchise. I don't know about that to that level, but I think this is a guy that can actually start for the Nets long term. Right now I have him projected for starting at, I believe, the 2. Yeah. And again, I think if there's any position that's loaded for the Nets, it's at the 2 because of Karis Levert and Rondae-Hollis Jefferson. But anyway, my next key player actually carrying into that is Karis Levert. I've mentioned him multiple times. I think this guy can be a stud this year. I really like the situation he's fallen into. Long term, I think he'll be great. The only thing, again, for me, I've mentioned this a million times, it's just obvious with Levert at this point, it's his health. Can he stay healthy? Can he play an entire season? He's a good shooter, he's a good offensive creator, and he's with a team right now where he's going to get the opportunity to space the floor, to work in a situation where he just doesn't have that many expectations right now, or at least that too high of expectations. Now, the one player, if anyone on this team, that has a lot of expectations, that's Jeremy Lin, and that's my next key player. Will he thrive in the Nets system? Will he be able to do something in a situation that I think is completely different than any situation he's seen before in the NBA? Granted, he's been to quite a few teams at this point. This was a guy that also competed for Sixth Man of the Year last year, so it's not unheard of that he could actually be obviously it's not unheard of because of Linsanity, but completely not unheard of that he could play an entire good year with the Nets. Maybe being back in New York can give him a little bit of that spark that he needs. This is a team that finished 21-61 last year, so like I said, expectations just aren't too high for this year. But my worst case scenario is pretty obvious, and that's just last place in the NBA. There's other things that could happen that would be a worst case, but I'm just talking about like the regular finish for the season. So my best case scenario, and I could see it happening if, like I said, if this young lineup can actually produce something big this year. This is a team with Brook Lopez, I think that if you come up with any big three, it's probably Rondae, Brook, and then Jeremy Lin, and they're like I said, there's some talent there. This is a lineup that can possibly put together something special for the expectations they have for this year. So my record prediction for, I said 7 seed. I don't know if I said that earlier. I might have. Anyway, record prediction, I think they're going to end up losing one more game than they did last year, 20-62 season. Like I said, I think this is a team that's building toward the future. I'm sorry, Nets fans. I'm sorry, Jeremy Lin fans. I know it's been a rough offseason for y'all if you watch a lot of my videos, and it's just not. I just don't think it's going to be a great season for the Nets. I think that they're headed down the right road, the road they've needed to head down for a while now. It's just, like I said, it's going to take a while to get there. But again, future's bright. Future's brighter than it has been the last 2 years in Brooklyn, which is good. Like I said, finally moving in the right direction. Hopefully, get the ship righted very, very soon. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So yeah.